got a little video player. It's got one of those cards in it. Don't know how long, when it's going to shut me off. When the Spirit quits inspiring me, when I quit tying together these loose, I'm trying to finish the Jumping Frog of Calaveras County, which was a book they told me I did not know how to tell a story. So, but the lady who told me this also never read that book in English. She's an English major, but she'd never read The Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. I kept telling her to read it because she kept telling me I did not know how to explain a story. She might be right, but she might be wrong. If I can tie these loose ends together, then it's my masterpiece, and you are welcome. And that's what I need Steven Spielberg, because you need the video. And I mean, some of it was pretty cool. My wife, I've been married to almost 30 years. She didn't know some of this stuff. Plane crashes, train crashes. And it does not matter that it was me. It really doesn't. I'm blowing up the messenger. All right. But maybe if I'm responsible enough, I'm not even trying to make money. I can't. I got to give some of the money to my dead cousin's daughter. My cousin Glenn, who I was named for. I don't know how God hides you in these things. I've already been paralyzed once. He had a clot go to his leg, went to his heart, and he died. They kept asking me if I was him, or something like that, like blaming. Why is Glenn part of this? And why is it this so thorough? It actually shows I should give money to his daughter. He died in my stead. He died when I should have died. My aunt said that when I went to his funeral. And I love my aunt, but she said what was really the truth. They all thought, oh, Glenn's dead. Oh, okay. They thought it was me. Yeah, we'll see if we can go to the funeral, whatever. No, Glenn's dead. They're Glenn. Everybody loved Glenn. I love Glenn. If I was Satan sitting at the next table behind us, who I think was there, listening to him explain the narcissism and all the other things he'd given up, and that he was going to have a baby, and that he was marrying his girlfriend from years, he was giving up his sinful lifestyle. I'd have said, well, if I got to pick one of them, which one I only get to zap one? I'd have zapped him too. I'd have picked him. Myself, I say it. My aunt said he never could get rid of you. We never could get rid of you. And she apologized immediately. But I'm guilty of loving my own son more than maybe somebody else's son. I dreamt of my son defending him on this, but I can't. All I can do is this. Steven Spielberg's out there. Make a movie. It'll be good. And nowhere, I promise this, will I, if I make fun of a Catholic or mention the Catholic boat, will I not tell the story of the only Catholic woman was the one who told me, don't do this to your mom. They didn't tell me they weren't putting platelets in. About 15, 20 years earlier, the first miracle I'd seen in the middle of this 33 years of not dreaming, I prayed for my mom. She came off the table. She'd been shot 6 times with a handgun, once with a rifle, 20 times with a butcher knife, 30 times with a butcher knife, all around the head, all around the face, all around the hands. Had so many holes in her. And when I prayed over the corpse, well, I prayed on the way to the church, or on the church. I was supposed to meet they said, come prepared, you go and talk to the pastor when you get there to, is Eskenazi? No, it's not the Nazi name. It's Methodist, or I don't know. It's one of the hospitals. It was the emergent, like Wishart Hospital. Eskenazi is the new one I had my dreams in. I fell out of Eskenazi. And I say Nazi, it's like a Nazi. But I saw Nazi. I actually, when I was down on the bridge, turning left, seeing the studio, I was taken far up in the air where there was a weight around. There was a wheelbarrow full of German marked money, and it was covered in blood. And there was many other things there too. I believe they were forced upon God. It was a balance. They were impossibly far away to see where the other counterbalance was. It was as far away you couldn't see. There was nowhere to see. It was as far away as it could be. And I thought, wow, that's weird. I was lazy. It was the only place I could remember was the little pyramid of money. And I found out when I got home, watching, I'm German, but I still watch the movies, the Nazi movie or whatever's on PBS, TBN, whatever. And it shows, one of them's talked about the pyramids they built. Well, they built pyramids, and maybe they built the pyramids, I don't know. But this pyramid they built, it was a pyramid on top of a wheelbarrow, full of money. And I was lazy. I didn't look or remember the other things that were there. Maybe God will show them to me in the future. Maybe it's not important. Maybe that's for somebody else to see part of the dream and them see the wheelbarrow also, and for them to see something else that God's been forced to accept. But I see on the TV that the people, when they drop the Zyklon B in, they put the B in, they go in, and they're like rats in there. They're like cats trying to get out. They are climbing on each other. When they have to take their bodies out, they have to break their arms because they're all climbing each other to get one last breath, because the poison air is on the bottom, the good air is on the top, and they build a pyramid. And I tell you, Satan doesn't care. I don't know who I was with. I don't remember which angel. And I wouldn't say it's God. I say God on this hand, because the Holy Spirit lit on my left shoulder when I was singing songs to God. Rock songs that I transfer to God. I sing them to God, and not Christian songs. Now, the funny thing about Christian songs, I'd never thought of it before, but many of these Christian songs, and some of them are good, some of them I've got on here are really good, but some of them call Jesus God. It's subtle. And most all Christmas ones say Jesus is God. But the odd thing is, the guy who won, the people who won when they made the Council of Nicaea was the Catholics. That was the kind of the first churches, they say. But they all of their things, none of them can be clean, ever. You must, church militant out there, the guy's so tender, big, strong gut from screaming, and he's, God bless him, he's bailing as fast as he can the Catholic boat out. He's trying to get rid of all the perverts you're building your church on top of dead bones, okay? The churches were built on graveyards. If you have a Jesus in your church and he's got a cloth on him and he's still, that's the only thing covering him, that's false modesty. That is the evil church, okay? Not knocking me, but he's going to hear this and probably say all the cuss words you can say, heresy, la-di-da-di-da. I don't know all the words that ecumenical, and I'm not even knocking the Catholics. I was raised Catholic, born Catholic, baptized Catholic. So it's easier for me to say. I've gone through this speech for 3.5 years. So to you, it might be a punch in the gut. I don't mean it. Actually, the church militant, he's working for the Catholic Church, but man, he's working. He's trying. And other people, maybe Sandhu, he says more milk was produced. When I poured it in my tea, I had it all summer. Okay, good. Maybe that's a demon filling it, thinking people shouldn't save food. Or maybe he's doing the right thing. But he's talking about getting militant. Why is he always wearing orange? Does that cover the blood up? No, I don't know. But he's talking about, and he's seen the same dreams I have. It's not like he doesn't prophesy. He's prophesied real similar to many of the things he claimed to be. And I am terrified of doing what I'm doing, because you're supposed to be. But the one thing I would have to ask Sandhu if I ever met him, and he is a lovely person. I do think, I've never heard him say a non-Christian thing. Okay? No. The only thing I've noticed, though, he's always on TBN or the Pentecostal networks. And I was all gung-ho, pro-Trump and all that, but now I'm seeing where, not that the lady Clinton was any better a choice, because she worships Moloch, and I've done the same thing. I had a child that was aborted, and that's worshiping Moloch, where they throw their kids. You worship God on one hand, and you worship Moloch on the other. God's not going to accept that. Okay, that's throwing your baby away. And I'm not telling people to not do what the Catholic Church says, get abortions at the end times, I'm saying probably not a good idea to physically have a child. I had a broken leg, broken foot, burned foot, second time burned foot, second time broken leg, diabetes out the, well, I won't say that. I guess I'll say wazoo, I can say that. Because it's got a Z in it. I got to get to my Z story. Well, it's still attached. Tiny scar on the bottom. Well, let me know if you think I should take off my false head and if my foot heals completely. Because how beautiful are the feet of those who tell you the truth, who bring that message. In Yeshua's name. Bye. Lisa's here. Oh, maybe I will tie some stories up. I gotta tie a couple stories up, sweetie. Or try to, anyhow. God's real and He loves us, but He's coming back, but He's not just love. Get that message that He's just love. A third of us are going to be dead. Now, yeah, we might not have to live through the worst part, but the sins of David were carried out by Stephen. Stephen, I want to say, what did I said the name earlier. Langton, Stephen Langton, according to another good guy that I've heard a lot from, what's his name? Randsberg, Randsberg, about the 5 different tribes. It's more kind of a study. Some people will be bored with it, but it speaks of the Dead Sea Scrolls, what compares, what's different. Not necessarily, I think, in a Christian, I don't follow everything, but you can, a stove will tell you a story, stick your hand on it and it burns you, you're going to know not to get burned. Well, I don't like having to use Milwaukee Atheist Society. Not that I wouldn't pray for them, but they know God pretty well. But I've seen it in other sources too. And you can get the truth on Black Flag, but I'm probably on a flagged list when you go on Black Flag. I think the guy is brilliant, but he's trying to solve this through this. There's not going to be enough people sign up for this to fix this problem through let's be nice to each other. Like the little sign says, just be kind. Just being kind is not going to cut it. God's coming back. That's going to be it. They try to get you to join these different things. I'll mention a couple of people that make me feel differently. Then some of them were famous Trinitarians, probably. Lester Summerall, he was great. You're going to notice this. Alpha Bakery. That's what they're cooking. That's the story they're cooking. I'll take that away. But the Alpha Bakery is that's Christianity with you're mentioning Jesus. Well, if Jesus is God, then the problem is if Jesus is God, and then there's kind of a 3-headed God. Well, that's kind of Vishnu, and I don't know my Middle Eastern religions well. And I also wanted to mention, I wanted to get a hold of, from Kansas, Carrie Livgren, got black posters. I kind of wanted to know what they look like. I probably already said that once, but the artwork for what the starts with U, ends with A, Eurasia, or whatever that strange religion was. I thought I'm going to join them, but warn people of that thing. And also the dreams. They were pretty cool, though. It was neat looking. I'll admit that. Satan is creative, if nothing else. I, at one point, had this dream. I was laying on bed, and there was a Jacob's ladder with the money going up and down, and there wasn't a lot of money in it. And then Jesus, or a man who I'd been complaining to, came up with the long hair, wouldn't face me, and in the middle of his hair, a double-edged blade came out. And at that point, I was not, it's a hard life sitting here in a wheelchair. But my foot isn't completely healed, but it's getting there. And I haven't taken my fake hair off yet, but I should. I guess when I know it's the end, maybe sooner. I had 3 times where I told God, if I can put this in my movie, if I mention these 3 things, tell him it's fake, and I keep it. Well, I don't think he really goes for that stuff, because I'm like, how can he say? If God talked, it would shake the world. So, but he included it, I think, in the Bible in a clever way about pulling off your fake hair, because I had riding with a tenant, the automatic seatbelt goes back and forth, back and forth. But I have to ride with them because my car's broke down. I sit in there, and the seatbelt grabs a hold. You hear it over here, rip. At the place I get them glued on at, where I've hired a few people. So Stephen, I don't know, Sondheim or Ben-Un or the guy with the movies. That guy. My brain's about fried. Can you close it, please? I gotta finish up. Oh. And then that's Lisa. She's taking the trash out, so you can tell the high budget. The back of my set. Come on, this is a closed set. But no, love and forgive, and she's done tons of that. She'd be a good Seventh-day Adventist if all the cleaning she's had to do to my feet. Although David's sin, I've heard people say on the internet, this one guy doesn't blink. Oh, please blink. He said, we've been in maybe 600 or 700 years because of all the Protestants on the East Coast, that we've been in the tribulation for 700 years. It's the same thing as David, just repeats itself. It happened actually, believe it or not, earlier than that, with the 318. That's the signal to you. It was 318 people. It was 300, which is what the guy needed later on. The guy who puts the Bibles in the hotels. I can't think of the name. What's the name, Lord? I can't think of it. I'm sorry. But 318 would be 300 plus 666. It happened then. It's real similar. The Bible, if you read it that way. And then later, when David did his census, it was 333. I'm gonna for 3 years, something bad's gonna happen, or 3 months, or 3 days. Okay, that's what we're gonna go through. The 777, 7 years of seals, 7 years of what is it? How's it go? That's pretty bad. I don't know, but I don't know. I have to think. But God wants a thinking man, not just a drum dummy. I'm a drummer. I'm the drummer boy. 7 seals, 7 trumpets. That's when, well, really, you do 7 there. 7 trumpets. Now the fake one's going to come at the 6th trumpet. He comes off stage, comes on the 6th trumpet, okay? But the real Jesus comes at the 7th trumpet, the real one. There's going to be 1 and 3, and it does not matter if you are going to be, you can read the Bible any way you want to read it. You're welcome to. But if you put numbers in there, you're able to bounce back and forth. If you do this magic act, I'm going to bounce back and forth and make it say what I want it to say. And that is David's census. That's what David's census was speaking about. That's what it's about. That's why so many people died. 70,000 people died when all David did was count his warriors. When he murders a guy and sleeps with his wife and has a kid with him. I know what's that? In modern day, I'm like, or he counted his army. Why would counting your army, so many more people end up dead, okay? Well, it's going to be very similar, I think, with the, in Ezra, the people ran to Jerusalem. I think maybe you have to go back. They ran from Jerusalem to Egypt, where it's going to be safe. We're Upper Egypt. It's not going to be safe here. The water's going to run like ink, according to Ezekiel. So it may not be that surprising if Lake Michigan and Lake Erie are here in Indiana. the plane lands, the float plane lands, and the people, 80 of them try to jump in. Well, it's written that 70 people were killed and put to death, but 10 lived because they had buried like honey and wheat and I don't know, 4 things that's written in there. But the plane, they tried to jump into the plane that produced food, okay? And you can still accept the mark of the beast. I hear this all the time. I told a lady, I'm a heavyset myself, at Hardee's, well, what are you going to do when they only accept the mark of the beast to eat? She said, you're going to accept it. And you know what? I've been hungry. I'll tell you what. I breathed through this for 80 days. No, not able to talk. And I ate through this. And I don't know that she's wrong. I'm telling you this. But you don't want to commit suicide. Jump off the cliff for food because you don't have food. And Sandhu's saying, well, look, the milk produced, and this other guy with the Bible saying, look, this Bible produces man. And I'm not saying God won't feed you that way because I've had miracles here in the house. Bananas, bread, but I've also had poop smells too. And you want to blame the poop on Satan? Well, okay. But sometimes maybe I'm acting poopy. The smell of poop is something, even the most retarded person wouldn't eat their fecal matter. Hopefully it doesn't taste good. Okay? So you don't eat what's fecal. And that's the other thing that we're going to be doing is when the end comes, if I'm real into pig, I mean, you see it on the German things, 1,200 ways, or Spanish, all of Europe, 1,200 ways to prepare pork. Well, and yeah, it says it in the Bible, but people say, we don't listen to that. Well, I got to go with this, okay? Here's what I go with. And the other one I've never heard anyone even say. When I first started reading this stuff again, I'm like, well, come on, 2,000 pigs went down. They didn't like the demons in them. They went down to drown themselves rather than have the demons in them. So a pig must be kind of good. It's not too stupid an animal. It kills itself because the pigs. But the people thought, get away. You're going to devastate our industry. Well, that's the way it would be today. Pork in China, pork in all the foods. I'm just saying this. Yeah, pork tastes great. And if you've never eaten pork, you're missing out. And I had a friend in college at Purdue, ate a bunch of all-you-can-eat pork ribs. The most delicious thing he'd ever eaten in his life. And and he found out later that, he said, that's the smallest. That must have been the smallest cows of all time. I said, that's not cows, that's pigs. And, I guess he threw up everywhere. So, but he also told me, it's funny about music. He said that, Scaramouche, Scaramouche, can you do the fandango? And he's from Saudi Arabia, not a big deal. But not that Saudi people can't, although, I was at Indiana State with Khashoggi. They ripped the film out. I think the guy might have been right. It might be dangerous to let them see what they're doing back at home. They don't let those pictures be broadcast. And I'm here with Marwan. I won't say his last name, but because actually he might be in danger if you're a friend, But he's the one who threw up. But he also told me that song, it means something derogatory. He was writing a bunch of articles about getting your hands cut off. Well, which sounded kind of bad. I guess that's what law that is, Sharia law or something. But people think, oh, no, we got to wait for the Muslims to come over here to attack. If they're pleasant as can be, they just want to get down, or they want to be left alone. They just want to, they're like most people, they just want a pleasant life. But you can have a pleasant life if summer had no fall. Well, this is the fall of my life, and this is the fall of people worshiping a three-headed God on Sunday. It's Saturday, and then at the minimum, and the pork, the pigs, and the fish, certain fish, are going to be eating dead bodies. You're not going to want to. That's one thing to eat a pork, and the pig is delicious. And if you are like Kansas and you keep a Bible and a rifle with you, and you're not shooting people necessarily, shoot a pig. Well, yeah, you're God doesn't like it for 7 days, but I think he'd rather you show up with bad pig breath to heaven or Jerusalem, which is actually where heaven is for the next 1,000 years. Read Ezekiel. It's there. It tells exactly what happens in heaven. They never read Ezekiel. It's about my favorite book in the Bible. It's comforting but terrifying because we're doing so different. Santa Claus won. The Saint Nicholas beat Arian. I don't know that Arian was all right because he still had a Trinity, just a different kind of Trinity. But he said Jesus wasn't God. I think that's a good head start. So, what else is there? I'll probably drive Lisa nuts, so she's closing the door. What? Call me. I got an email somewhere. I'll put it on this thing. lfickle35@yahoo.com. My wife's thing. Blow it up. Call me, or I don't know. Tell me you liked this or hated it. But tell me you saw it. I got a few more I got to clear up. There's a little drum pad. I used to play the drums along with it. I'd tap around with Kansas and play songs. It's one of the first miracles I saw. Not the first, but, and life is a miracle, but one of the ones where the tape was dragging. I have a cassette if you want to see it. It's got the tape all wrapped around it because it got eaten up, but the tape was dragging, and every tape dragging, many of them dragging. It's an old tape player in the other room. I play my drums along with it, tap along with it, and I was playing this song, whereas How My Soul Cries Out For You. And I don't know what I was thinking when, I don't know, I sing many of these songs to God. I'm a man, yes I am, and I can't help but love you, so I don't know. That's the other difference is I do think he's going to be able to help from love you, so you've got your whole life and time, but the time is passing. I don't know if I can find it. It's not that important, I guess. Oh, my soul cries out for you. I don't know. This was... I'm losing them. They're not going to watch, but... there goes a dream. This is the song Satan played to me. Saying it was so beautiful that this couldn't possibly be of God. It's called Jerusalem. It's Dr. Stephen, The Healing Collection, Jeffrey Thompson. My wife was playing it to me. I cry when I hear it sometimes. Dave Mason's on here, Satan singing Only You Know and I Know, so that's why I'm trying to get more people to know than just me. Here's a song I sang. Sang to God on the front porch. I'll just play it for a minute. What else? The other ones, miracles I got to show. Well, my son's still alive at this point. God's been good to me there, but the paralysis of the demon dog is coming through my body. I don't know how much longer I'm going to last. I want to last till the seventh trumpet, but I think you need to act like Hogan out there. And let me turn this down a little bit. One thing cool about this job is I get to listen to some old Kill jams. So this is like Jesus singing to us. To love somebody, the way I love you. They were a good band. But It's not actually a Christian song. You wouldn't think, but I make it one, and I put my cross down and do it. I think on further up he sings where he's a man, can't you see that I am? And that's important. Some of the other, yeah, you got to edit stuff out here and there. Take out the babies and put God in, but that's what they did with a lot of the rock music anyhow, I think. But clever editing, that's how you get good movies. So I guess this thing may erase soon, so I think that food is important. Hidden food, hide it. There's old silos. Yeah, we'll have missile silos going off, but there's silos, old silos. Take those and hide some grain. Read the 6 grains that there's 6 grains that during the bad time it's 6. It's 6 times that. Sorry, Bee Gees. You don't know what it's like to love somebody. Oops. I'll just let it go, I guess. I don't know how to turn the thing off. That's how bad I am about these things. That's another good one. I don't know the volume from... There we go. It's off. Okay, and I don't know if we need to actually go to Jerusalem. It's possible. You actually physically have to go to get out of here and go to Jerusalem. When I was a kid, I got baptized by a black guy, Walter. I won't say his last name, but great guy. But I remember on the way there to my house, the speedometer was going 60 and it was in a 55. I'm like, oh God, do I have to turn him in for this? I guess it's technically... But he's going to a town, Mooresville, where I was from, where on the way in I used to say, Daddy, what's that sign? What does that mean? And it was a man with a long stick with a bag on the back with the sun setting. And the sign said, he read it to me, it said, black man, don't let the sun set on you. And 200, 300 feet from that was the IGA I went to with Walter. He was a black guy, and he wouldn't go in with us. I really wasn't, we had, although we didn't know, I didn't know hardly any black people there. I remember I knew him, and I knew the guy who missed all the free throws when Larry Bird lost the championship. So many people actually think they won the championship, but Indiana State lost in the last game. But I guess I almost chose the wrong guy. I should have gone with Walter, and I went with another man. But he was a lovely guy too, actually. Anyone can be saved. Don't think you can't be saved. Even the Rothschilds, that'll be Rothschilds, because my father comes to divide and conquer, and he's going to be the one that's going to win. Yeah, of course, they're going to win here for a little bit, but the red